Have you ever found yourself standing by the window, gazing at the garden or the street, your hands resting on the sill, and wondered just how much of how we age is really up to us? Have you looked at an old wedding photo or a grandchild's drawing on the fridge and thought about all the ordinary routines we repeat day after day, year after year, those little things that shape the landscape of our lives? I have. And lately, I've been thinking about the daily habits, some so familiar we barely notice them anymore, that may be quietly stealing a bit of our time, our comfort, or our strength as we grow older. I'm Albert, and this is Golden Age Wisdom, a space for thoughtful folks like us, looking to keep our golden years shining, no matter what comes our way. Today, I want to gently walk with you through 4 daily habits that can speed up aging after 65, and, more importantly, how we can avoid them. These aren't things to be afraid of or ashamed of. Most of us have been doing them for years. But just like finding an old recipe tucked away in the back of the drawer, a few gentle changes can make all the difference. Now, grab a cup of tea or settle into your favorite chair, because we're going to talk honestly and kindly, just as friends do. First, why does this matter? Well, when we were young, it felt like we could get away with just about anything. I remember Harold, a neighbor of mine years ago. He used to laugh that he could eat a whole pie at midnight and still chase the sunrise. He was right for a time. But now, in this season of life, the small things add up more quickly. A day spent sitting too long, a restless night, a skipped walk. These details matter more than ever, and even though we can't turn the clock back, we can certainly make every hour kinder, more comfortable, and, dare I say, a little more wonderful. Let's begin, shall we? The first habit I'd like to talk about is one that I struggled with myself for many years. It's what I call sitting out your own story, or, in plain terms, spending too much time being still, too much time sitting. Let me paint a picture. I recall a winter some years back, when ice held the world outside in a chilly grip. I'd sit at the kitchen table after breakfast, reading the paper, sometimes for hours. Then, after lunch, I'd settle into my old recliner to watch the news, maybe an episode of my favorite westerns. Before I knew it, the day was nearly gone, my legs stiff as fence posts. At first, it just felt like taking it easy, but after a while I noticed my joints were grumbling louder, and it felt harder to get up, harder to keep up with my grandkids, even just to bend and tie my shoes. Sound familiar to anyone? If so, you're far from alone. Most folks think slowing down is the reward of retirement, and it is, in many ways. But when sitting becomes the main event of our day, it's like letting dust collect on a prized quilt. Our muscles weaken, our joints stiffen, our balance can slip away, slow and silent. One day, I remember watching Ruth, my neighbor, sprier than me by a decade, drop her keys on the driveway. Without a second thought, she bent, picked them up, and planted a daffodil right next to the mailbox, all in one graceful swoop. I realized right then that a little movement, here and there, keeps us able to do the ordinary things that mean so much. So, how do we gently invite more movement into our days, now that icy sidewalks or aching knees may hold us back? The answer is not to run a marathon. Heavens, no. It's in small moments, standing up every half hour, walking the hall or to the mailbox, stretching your arms to the ceiling, reaching for a glass in the cupboard. Sometimes, when I'm waiting for the kettle to boil, I sway side to side or roll my shoulders back just to keep things flowing. If you feel comfortable, you could even put on a favorite song and sway a little in the living room. Nobody's watching. Movement is a melody our bodies remember, even if it's just a few gentle steps every hour. Now, my dear friend, If you have a little tip or daily movement that works for you, maybe a way you sneak in that extra stroll or stretch, would you share it in the comments? Someone out there might find just the encouragement they need from you. Our second dangerous habit is one that most of us face, especially in these modern times: letting loneliness linger. Loneliness is a quiet thing. It creeps in without a sound, settling on your shoulders while the world spins on. I remember my friend Dorothy, who lost her husband a few winters ago. At first, casseroles arrived and neighbors called, but as the seasons passed, she spent more and more days watching the birds, silent, waiting for the phone to ring. I would visit when I could, but there were days, too many, when she didn't see another soul. It's not just sadness that comes with loneliness, it's a weariness of the spirit. Science may say that lonely hearts age faster, but I think of it like a garden untended. The weeds creep in, and the flowers lose their color. It's so easy to think, I always managed on my own, I don't want to be a burden. But connection, just a little, is as important as water and sunlight. Sometimes it's a Sunday call with your daughter or a puzzle shared with a neighbor. Other times, just sitting in the park, nodding hello to passers-by, is enough to remind you that you belong in the world. If reaching out feels heavy, I remember Ruth's trick. She kept a list of 5 friends tucked in her recipe box with their phone numbers. Every week, she'd call one just to chat about the weather or to reminisce about old times. She'd say, "It's easier to dial a friend than to stew in silence." She was right. If you're listening now and thinking of someone you haven't spoken to in a while, why not give them a ring? If you prefer writing, a handwritten letter brings a smile that glows longer than a sunrise. And please, lean on our little community here too. I'd be honored if you'd pause and tell me in the comments about someone who brightens your days or a memory of a friendship that still warms your heart. We're all in this together. Now, let's talk about the third habit, a slippery one, at least for me, skimping on sleep. Ah, sleep. When I was young, I never thought much about it. In the Navy or raising kids, you slept when you could and hoped you'd be rested enough to do it all again. But now, a restless night can leave me feeling hollowed out, like a tree after a storm. A day that begins with a yawn never shapes up quite right. I used to dismiss my fitful sleep as just getting older, but over the years, I've learned that poor sleep makes my body ache and my mind muddled. It steals the sparkle from my days, makes everything feel a bit heavier. My friend Bill, a retired carpenter, was notorious for falling asleep in his recliner with the television droning on. He'd laugh, saying, "Old men nap, that's what we do." But then he started forgetting little things, where he put his keys, or if he'd paid the electric bill. One day, he confessed, "Al, I feel like I'm walking through fog." We talked about it over coffee and decided to make a few small changes. Bill started turning off the TV an hour before bed, swapping out the nightcap for warm chamomile tea, and reading old baseball magazines instead. He noticed over time that the morning fog started to lift. If sleep is stubborn for you too, there are gentle ways to invite it back. Keep your bedroom cool and dim, avoid those blinking tablets or late-night news headlines, and stick to a soothing ritual. For me, it's reading an old novel under a worn blanket, my feet tucked in just so. If worries crowd in, I write them down on a slip of paper and promise myself I'll puzzle them out tomorrow. And if dreams come, I let them. It's easy to feel like losing sleep is just another part of aging, but restful nights are the thread that keeps our days stitched together. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Before we move on, if you've found a trick for a good night's sleep, a song, a scent, a memory, why not type it in the comments? Maybe your story will help someone else hush their worries tonight. Now, if you're finding this conversation helpful, I'd be grateful if you'd consider subscribing to Golden Age Wisdom. It's a gentle way to carry our talks forward together, and I'd be honored to have your company for the next one. Our last habit for today may surprise you, and I admit it's one I stumbled into myself, neglecting the little joys of nourishment. Food, you see, is more than fuel. It's a language, a memory, a comfort. But as the years go by, eating can become rushed or neglected. Maybe it's a tired appetite, or cooking for one feels more like a chore than a delight. Some days I'd find myself nibbling a piece of toast at noon, forgetting to eat more until supper, telling myself I wasn't truly hungry. But our bodies, especially after 65, are like old cars. They need the right oil and regular top-ups to keep humming. Skimping on meals, leaning too much on crackers or sweets, or losing track of water, all of this can make us sluggish, sore, even sad. Our skin loses its glow, our eyes their twinkle, and bit by bit, we fade at the edges. I remember my Aunt Mabel, who lived alone on Maple Street. She knew the secret of making every meal an event. Even a Tuesday lunch was served on her favorite plate, with a napkin and a cup of tea. She'd say, "If you treat food like a friend, it'll keep you company longer." Sometimes now, I invite a neighbor to share soup and stories. Other times, I put on a record and make an omelet just for myself, savoring every bite. And I never forget a glass of water with each meal, clear as hope. Nourishment is not just about the food, but about how we invite gratitude to the table. To all my friends out there, please remember, skip a meal only if you must, but never skip kindness to yourself. Now, my dear, if you have a favorite recipe or a food tradition that lifts your spirits, would you share it in the comments below? Our table is always made richer by sharing. As we gather our thoughts, let's gently look back at what we've uncovered together. These 4 habits: too much sitting, letting loneliness linger, restless nights, and neglecting nourishment, can steal time and joy from our golden years. But none of them are set in stone. Every day, with a little kindness and intention, we can shape our habits into something softer, something that gives us strength. I know change can feel daunting, especially when routines are old friends. But remember, small steps, taken one at a time, lead to places we never thought possible. If all you do today is stand up a little more, or call someone you love, or dust off your good china for lunch, you've already begun. You are not alone on this path. Each of us, whether we're sitting in a sunlit kitchen or listening as the rain taps the windows, is walking together, learning, living, loving still. The world may change, the years may pass, but the heart remains ever young, as long as we tend it gently. Before I go, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments. What's one little habit that's helped you keep your days bright, or a memory that reminds you it's never too late to take care of yourself? I read everyone. If you enjoyed our talk today, do me the kindness of liking this video, subscribing, or sending it along to a friend who might find comfort in it as well. Our gathering grows richer with each gentle voice, each shared story. Thank you for trusting me with a moment of your day. Wherever you are, I hope you find a touch of warmth, a burst of laughter, and the strength to keep writing your story, one gentle day at a time. With all my heart, I wish you well. Until next time, this is Albert, signing off from Golden Age Wisdom. Take care, dear friend.